Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this 11th, Monday, the 11th of January, 2020. Something very, very bad is coming. And, it's a little bit hard to. I've been working on this for a while. Trying to figure out exactly when it's going to come, but it's very hard to figure out exactly when it's going to come and what exactly it's going to look like. But I'll tell you how I see it. Is the financial system, the Main Street financial system, is working something similar to a chart of like the Dow Jones or any of these other charts, And what we've had is if you looked at the general economy, shopping malls and doctors' offices and all these different businesses and stuff out there that basically went under, and now you see them closed, or out for lease or whatever in the economy. This is basically like a crash in the stock market, but it's a crash in the general economy. And if it was on a chart, what would it look like? Well, typically what happens in the stock market crash is you have the market fall precipitously. Now, we're seeing this exact same thing happen, right now with cryptos, but a little bit different. But we've seen a big crash in cryptos this morning. And last night. But this is a little bit different. It's a pattern where you get something called a dead cat bounce, where the economy has fell off tremendously over the past number of months of this last year and into the first part of this year. And it's going to continue to fall, I think, until around March. It's like charting something on a chart. It's the same thing. And when you get a massive fall off, you get something called a dead cat bounce. And so I've been predicting for a while now on my channel that we're going to have a recovery. The recovery is the dead cat bounce. It's a dead cat bounce for the economies of the West. And most all the economies of the West. It's a dead cat bounce, but it's going to affect the East too. And so it's moving much slower than a regular market crash because this is the whole world we're talking about here. This is a collapse of the financial system of the entire Western world. That's nothing more, nothing less. But we're going to get a bounce, and this bounce is going to probably be starting the springtime, and it's probably going to extend through the fall of this year. But be warned. Why I'm on this show here is I'm warning you guys that this is the biggest catastrophe coming that we've ever seen. And I'm not putting it lightly, guys. It's the biggest catastrophe we've ever seen. And if you don't prepare for it, you are going to be in extreme danger for yourself and your family. Because it's going to be the biggest catastrophe we've ever seen. And I'm not putting that lightly. And I believe that it's coming in 2022. I think we're going to make it through this year without the catastrophe happening. But this is something you're really going to have to prepare for. I'm going to be talking about it a lot on my channel. We're going to undergo a bounce in the economy when this virus starts to pick up its heels and starts to leave. And things are going to get better again. But it's only a bounce. It's going to speed up the velocity of money. The bounce is going to. And they're going to really print, trying to bring the economy up out of the doldrums that it's in right now and bring it back and restore it. But this is going to lead to doom because what's going to happen is the velocity of money is going to start to increase. And we're going to head into a hyperinflationary depression in 2022. And either way they cut it, if they decide to print their way out of it, it's going to be a hyperinflationary depression in 2022. And if they decide to not print their way out of it and default on it, it's going to still be a depression in 2022. A major depression. And get ready for a vast decrease in the global population during that period in time in 2022. A major decrease in the global population is going to coincide with this I cannot tell you guys how bad this is going to be. What's coming in 2022 when we're through with this bounce that we're going to have this year. And yeah, the bounce is going to feel good, but it's going to lead to doom. And I mean, on my channel, if you followed me for a number of years now, you know that I'm not really a doom and gloom kind of outlook kind of a fella, you know? But I don't see any way out of this. What's going to happen, and it might happen a bit sooner than 2022. Or, I mean, oftentimes on my channel, I've been wrong about timing. I have got so many things right on my channel, but timing is a problem for me. Timing, and I'll often go out on a limb and I'll say, hey, this is coming, and I'll get the timing wrong. But I've made so many correct predictions, and this is a prediction I'm making of I've never made predictions before of doom. But this is going to be like doom. It's going to be really bad. It's going to be majorly bad. It's going to be something that is going to actually affect the world's global population. It's going to be so bad. And it's going to affect it adversely. Seriously adversely. I'm not going to set numbers of how many we're going to lose, but I'm thinking to myself it's going to be in... Well, I was going to use the B word for how many we're going to lose in the world. And you got to prepare for this, because you don't want to be amongst those people that's not there after it's over. You want to make it through it. You know what I mean? It's going to be very difficult times, because there's going to be a loss of law and order, I believe, in a partial shutdown of the entire system in areas. I think areas of the grid will possibly even go down during this crisis. And if you're in an area where the grid's still up, count yourself fortunate. And if you're in an area, and I'm talking about areas that might be 1,000 miles across, where there's no grid, during this, when this crisis really hits. Now, I'm expecting this crisis in 2022, and so I think you're going to have about 10 months or so to prepare for when it comes. But the system's going to partially lock up and freeze. It's going to be tremendous, like nothing you've ever went through before. That's what's coming. It's a very dark time for humanity, and it's going to be a restructuring during this period. They're going to have to restructure everything. The monetary system, the way we do business, everything's going to have to be restructured in a very short period of time. It's going to be a very chaotic period of time, and it's probably going to be very lawless. Let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here, and let's take a look. And the first thing I want to show you guys is, I had it here. Where is it? My picture. Here's my picture. Now, this is what's happening, and this is why the crisis is coming. Now, this is a picture from the Shanghai Stock Exchange, but it's a chart. And I want to show you what happens typically when you get a market that falls off. Picture this is not the chart I'm showing you. Picture that this is the credit markets in the world, and this is our credit splurge that we've had for years and years and years. That's what I want. I want this to be like, This is like our credit splurge, and see how we went up and up and up, taking on more and more debt, and fueling more and more debt until we hit a peak. It hits a peak. Of course, in this chart, that would be where it says June 12th. That's the peak in credit, right? And then you get a major fall off. Well, see, what's happening right now is the economy is deflating, and it's like we're in this fall off. And see, it falls and it falls and it falls, and then it does what's called a dead cat bounce, where it rebounds a little bit. And this is what I'm expecting to happen this summer. Us to have a little rebound, a little bit of what they call a back to normal sort of a deal, where things seemingly go back to normal, but not quite as good as they were before the virus. And this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting it to start this spring, and I'm expecting it to extend through the fall and into the winter. So we'll probably have a really nice Christmas and everything this year coming, right? Because we'll be in this dead cat bounce. But you see what happens when the dead cat bounce is over? then you're on the highway to hell. You're going down. You're just it's going to be a fall like you wouldn't believe. That's what's coming in 2022 is that fall part where everything crashes. All the fiat currencies crash. It's going to be a total mess. It's going to be a total wipeout, I think, in 2022. And it's going to cause a toll on human life because it's going to be so bad. And, I mean, it's going to be. I'm not saying it's going to be like Mad Max movie or something like that, but it's going to be really seriously bad. Uh, it's going to be probably as bad as what Venezuela experienced over the last couple of years. And if you guys got body fat, you're a little bit overweight, you're a little bit chubby, embrace it because you're going to need it for 2022. Are you getting an idea what I'm talking about here? You're going to need your body fat for 2022, and you're going to need to prepare for 2022. It's going to be rough. Anyway, let's get into the other parts of the chart here and let's take a look at cryptocurrency today. Here we go. Cryptocurrency. Big fall off in price. We've seen a big drop. Cryptocurrency right now is 31,192 for Bitcoin. It's lost about $10,000 on a Bitcoin. But don't be dismayed. This is what they're doing is they're swooping in. The big players right now are swooping in. They're going to start very soon. They're going to start buying up these coins again. The big players at a cheaper price. I don't see this is just a correction in a bull market. And I think it's going to take off again. Is what I think. I don't think this is the big fall in price. This is a reassortment or the weak hands are taking profits off the table in dollars, and the strong hands are going to start scooping them back up again, and that's what's happening. It's like a shuffling of the coins, and there's only so many coins out there to go around. And so some people are selling, and some people are going to be buying very soon. And so the coins are changing hands, and they'll go out and they'll fritter those dollars away or whatever profits they took off the table. And probably a lot of it will have to go to taxes or whatever, But that's the way it goes, Cryptocurrency market today. In other words, I'm expecting the cryptocurrency price to go back up very soon, to start to go back up again, and probably exceed the price it was at. That's what I'm expecting, 25.16 for silver price today. And the silver price is creeping back up again after a huge smash. Like we were over $27. 25.16 is a little bit of a buying opportunity for anybody who wants to get a few coins for silver. Let's take a look at gold today. Gold is 18.50. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, when we get this little bit of a recovery coming up in the next few months and things start to bounce back to normal again, I'm going to be the one then preaching doom. Now, these guys out there, a lot of you have been listening to and everything, they've been preaching doom the last couple months, and I've been talking about this recovery. It's going to reverse. When they start talking about a recovery and say how the recovery's come and everything, I'm going to be talking about the doom. It's going to be a reverse on this, But I think I got it right, and I think they got it wrong. I think we're going to head into this little bit of a recovery this summer and leading into fall. Everybody thinks that the situation is over. And then when we go into next year, when everything just basically everything crash, it's going to be the everything crash next year. They're all going to get caught with their pants down. They're not going to, the preppers out there will say, well, I'm not prepping anymore. Look, I was all prepped for this. And we had our economic recovery, and now I got all this prep food going bad and everything else. I'm never prepping again. That's when the big one's coming. Just when you give up and you say, oh, the big one's never coming, we've went into a recovery and everything, it's going to catch everybody by surprise in 2022. Everybody who's not prepared for it. That's what's going to happen. Gold today, 1850. Now we're going to take a look at Dow Jones. Dow Jones is down 60 points on the day, 31,037. Let's take a look now at crude oil. Crude oil is down 22 cents at 52.02. The MOVE index today. MOVE index is going along sideways at 44.81. This is your credit markets. Got to keep a close eye on this. And your bonds and rates. Now, this is the big mover right now. It's up 2 basis points again on these bonds. These bonds are getting up to the point where they can't go. They can't go much higher. If they continue to drift a little bit higher, you know, they're going to start to have a very profound impact on the markets. Can't have this happen. When I say can't, I mean that. They cannot let these bond yields go up too much more than they are now. It's already having an effect, I think, on the market, and they're going to have to do something about the long end of the yield curve. I think they're going to have to control it. They're going to have to buy these bonds. That's what I think they're going to have to do. U.S. dollar index today, 90.59 on the U.S. dollar index. Heavy dollar buying, you know. An awful lot of people have took profits off the table and bought into the dollar off of the cryptos. And we're seeing the dollar ride the back of that little wave, you know. I say little wave because I think money's going to be moving back into the cryptos again pretty soon. It's a big mistake to try to use the dollar now as a hedge against this entire crisis that's coming, you know, because when this little bit of a recovery comes, they're going to print, and when the recovery is ending, they're going to print even more, you know, going into 2022. They're going to hyperinflate it. So that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're watching for, and that's what's coming. A huge crisis in 2022, but we're going to have to go through this recovery first, and that's your time to prepare. That's your... I can't begin to express to you guys that this is going to be really bad, what I see coming. Once this next little recovery ends, this next little dead cat bounce ends, then it's just down. Everything's going to go down, you know. And we'll catch you guys in the very next show. Give me a thumbs up. And bye-bye, guys.